In Yu-Gi-Oh, monsters by default can only attack once. However, there are some cases in which monsters can attack twice. And in this list, we'll go over some of the best monsters that can attack twice or allow other monsters to attack 2 times. And at number 10, we have Zerrziel, Rule of the Evil-Eyed. This Link 3 Fiend monster has 2600 attack points with 3 arrows that require 3 total Evil Eye monsters as materials. Zerrziel serves as the main board breaker of the Evil Eyes archetype and one of the 2 main boss monsters of the deck. Zerrziel's power comes with the effect that when Link summoned with a monster that has 2600 attack points or more, Zerrziel can make a second attack during the battle phase. Additionally, when equipped with Evil Eye of Selene, as a quick effect, you can target and destroy 1 card your opponent controls. Then on top of that, once per turn during the next standby phase after the destruction effect was activated, you can negate the effect of 1 effect monster that Zerrziel points to. Zerrziel, Rule of the Evil-Eyed, can both remove cards from the field with its destruction effect while also attacking twice to deal massive damage. With archetype-specific equip spells like Evil Eye of Gorgonio and Evil Eye of Selene that give attack bonuses depending on the number of spells that have been used, as well as a life point difference between you and your opponent, Zerrziel can more or less two-shot you, depending on the equip spells at play. This is furthered by the effect of destroying a card in the field to open your opponent's field for attacks. However, this card isn't without fault. Zerrziel only gains the ability to attack twice when it's been link summoned with a 2600 attack point monster. In the Evil Eye archetype's monster with the highest base attack is Gorgon, Empress of the Evil Eye at 1900 attack points, and is the archetype's other boss monster. The remaining cards of the archetype don't have high attack point values and rather focus on their effects, such as Zerrziel, Watcher of the Evil Eye, that has 600 attack points but can destroy your opponent's spells and monsters and can search out for other Evil Eye cards. This means that gaining the double attack effect is somewhat of a challenge. On top of that, Zerrziel's destruction effect can only be activated when equipped with a specific equip card. But regardless, the effect to both negate and destroy cards on separate turns is nothing to scoff at. However, this list focuses on monsters that can attack twice, and Zerrziel can, but needs a lot of help to do so. And at number 9, we have Evil Hero Infernal Gainer. This is a 2007 monster that's level 4, Earth Fiend, has 1600 attack points. Infernal Gainer has the effect that during your main phase 1, you can banish Infernal Gainer from the field to target 1 Fiend monster you control. That targeted monster can make a second attack during the battle phase this turn. Then, during the second standby phase after this effect is activated, you special summon Infernal Gainer back to the field. Infernal Gainer was released during the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX era alongside the Evil Heroes, Gladiator Beasts, and Cloudian archetypes. Although specifically the Evil Hero archetype didn't see much usage, some of the archetypal cards blended into the broader hero category that we see in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, such as Evil Hero Dusted Gold, Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy, or Evil Hero Malicious Bane. Infernal Gainer, like most of its archetype, didn't see the same level of usage as the main hero cards. The only exceptions were for a Dusted Gold, whose only job was to bring out Dark Calling, to subsequently bring out Evil Hero Malicious Bane, and Infernal Prodigy that special summoned itself to the field then became tribute fodder that let you draw 1 card. Although Evil Hero Infernal Gainer has not seen any competitive use, he has seen use in the odd variation of hero as well as fiend decks. Unfortunately, because Infernal Gainer needs to be on the field to use the effect, the card loses a lot of value. Using your normal summon to only banish it so your monster can get 2 attacks tends to not be worth the cost most times. Especially since most hero cards are warriors rather than fiends. You don't have too many targets to even use the effect on, as the non-evil heroes see much more usage than the evil heroes. Next up is Cyberse Accelerator. This Link 3 Cyberse monster is 2000 attack, 3 arrows, and only requires 2 or more monsters that are not tokens to summon. Cyberse Accelerator is a great support card for other Cyberse boss monsters, as the effect allows, during the battle phase, as a quick effect, you can target 1 Cyberse monster this card points to either increase its attack by 2000 points for the turn, or allow it to make 2 attacks at monsters during the battle phase. At first glance, Cyberse Accelerator has a good effect. However, building a field to properly utilize this effect is a challenge. Not impossible, but a challenge nonetheless. The first hurdle with Cyberse Accelerator is the nature of the card. With it being a Link 3 monster, this means getting him onto the field alongside your boss monster, which typically is another Link monster seen at most of your combos, is kinda difficult. Then its effect only works with other Cyberse monsters that it's pointing to, meaning that Cyberse Accelerator has to be either the first piece of the combo you summon to place him in the extra monster zone to then point downwards, or you have to have another card like Link Disciple pointing up to Cyberse Accelerator, and then Cyberse Accelerator points to your boss monster from there. Cyberse Accelerator unfortunately doesn't have the payoff for building such a material-heavy field. Although boosting attacks by 2000 or getting a second attack is great, it's not worth it due to Cyberse Accelerator's high summon price. And at number 7, we have Mataza the Zapper. This is a level 3 Dark Warrior monster with 1300 attack and is the gold standard for monsters that can attack twice. Mataza's effect is simple but does the job. The effect simply allows Mataza to attack twice during each battle phase. It also has another effect in which the control of the card cannot switch, but that doesn't come into play very often. Mataza is the baseline, so to speak, of monsters that can attack twice, with its simple effect to have 2 attacks with no drawbacks or requirements like other cards. Mataza has seen a couple of high placements in tournaments, but even more surprising is that he has 2 first place finishes in 2005 Shonen Jump Orlando Tourney and 2007's UK Nationals finish. However, lately, you typically don't see Mataza aside from the Mataza/Benkei OTK decks that utilize a bunch of different equip spells such as Axe of Despair, Mage Power, or Psychic Blade, on top of their monsters that deal massive damage with multiple attacks. In modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, Mataza doesn't see much play, as there's almost no protection for the card. So the entire strategy of beefing up a monster with 1300 attack points can easily be shut down with any sort of destruction or disruption, like Raigeki or Lightning Storm that almost all decks typically include, as well as basically any quick effect disruption that just so much as breathes on them. And at number 6, we have Shark Fortress. This rank 5 Xyz Dark monster from the Zexo era has 2400 attack. Shark Fortress' effect encompasses detaching one material to target one face-up monster you control, and that monster can attack twice. Requiring any 2 level 5 monsters to summon, Shark Fortress was an incredibly versatile Xyz monster that could fit into almost every deck that could facilitate rank 5 plays. Shark Fortress is similar to Mataza the Zapper because of the effect's simplicity and good value. However, Shark Fortress has a bit more value than Mataza because Shark Fortress can target any of your monsters. So rather than include a variety of equip spells, you can allow another one of your stronger monsters to just have 2 attacks. For being a fish-type monster, Shark Fortress has seen a lot of use in a variety of decks. In 2020, Shark Fortress saw use in Cosmos, Monarchs, Demise True Dracos, and the Fire King decks, but lately, Shark Fortress has seen use in all sorts of Eldritch decks with success, since the majority of Eldritch trap tokens are level 5. So bringing Shark Fortress out using the trap cards was relatively easy. And that's why Shark Fortress is at a higher rank than Mataza, as Shark Fortress can do what Mataza does, but better and for more other archetypes. Rather than having a specific monster with below average attack that can attack twice, you can just have any monster with a decently high attack point do that. Granted, it is a little bit harder to bring out, but can allow any of your other monsters to have 2 unconditional attacks. And at number 5, we have Update Jammer. A relatively newer card for this list, Update Jammer is a Link 2 Cyberse monster with 2000 attack and has 2 arrows. Requiring 2 level 2 or higher Cyberse monsters to summon, Update Jammer is pretty easy to bring out considering its effect. The card has 3 different effects that are all battle focused. The first effect is a quick effect that activates when your Cyberse monster battles. When that battle happens, Update Jammer negates all other card effects on the field until the end of that damage step, meaning you can get a true 1v1 because all face-up cards are negated, even attack point bonuses. Then if an opponent's monster is destroyed by battle, you can inflict an additional 1000 damage to your opponent. The final effect of Update Jammer is why he's on this list. When it's used for a Link summon, that Link monster can make a second attack during the battle phase. Update Jammer is quite the versatile card as it can be used to get that 1v1 between monsters with all of the effects negated, or used to Link climb to bring out a boss monster that can do massive damage with 2 attacks. For example, if you Link summon out a common Link boss monster like Axis Code Talker with Update Jammer, as well as Decode Talker as a material, you can not only get the attack bonus of using a Link 3 monster for Axis Code Talker's effect, but now it can attack twice thanks to Update Jammer's effect. And at number 4, we have White Aura Whale. This is a level 8 water synchro monster at 2000 attack that requires 1 water tuner monster and 1 water non-tuner monster to be synchro summoned. Once it's synchro summoned, you can destroy all of your opponent's attack position monsters. Additionally, White Aura Whale can make up to 2 attacks on your opponent's monsters during each battle phase with piercing damage. Then the cherry on top of that, and what makes White Aura Whale so devastating, is that if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card, so either by battle or card effect, you can banish another water monster from your graveyard and special summon it back to the field as a tuner monster. White Aura Whale is a powerhouse to say the least, and a reusable one at that. The first effect of when White Whale is synchro summoned alone is a great effect, as the effect does not target the attack position monsters, meaning it gets around target immune monsters like Borrelsword Dragon that can't be targeted by card effects. Then it has 2 attacks on monsters and can deal massive amounts of damage with its piercing damage as well. And then what really makes White Aura Whale so strong is that if it's destroyed, it's incredibly easy to bring the card back out again, as you guarantee it coming back out at least once already by the synchro summoning as it requires 2 water monsters. Most decks that utilize White Aura Whale are water attribute decks, like Plunder Patrol, Ice Barriers, Fish, and Gradle, that will be able to bring the card back multitudes of times. In some cases, you might even use it in Sword Soul Tenyi decks, but it'll only return once because tokens don't go to the graveyard. Plus, when it does return to the field, it is as a tuner, so you can extend your plays to build higher level synchro monsters. However, the issue with White Aura Whale is that the additional attack is exclusively for monsters. So wiping the board with its synchro summon is great, but you are only getting 1 2800 points worth of damage in, which is by no means bad, but you don't get the full benefits of the card unless they had a whole bunch of defense position monsters which were not destroyed by its first effect, in which you can then attack into with its piercing damage. And at number 3, we have Cyberse Quantum Dragon. This is a level 7 Synchro Dark Cyberse monster with 2500 attack and requires generic materials for its summon. Cyberse Quantum Dragon has 2 great effects. First is that while you control a Link monster, your opponent can't target any other monsters you control with attacks or card effects except for this card. Then, at the start of the damage step, if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can return that monster to the hand and it can make a second attack in a row. Both the Cyberse Quantum Dragon's abilities are great. Any sort of taunting mechanic where a card forces your opponent to target a specific card has great defensive utility for field protection. Then, the second effect of Cyberse Quantum Dragon utilizes non-targeting, non-destruction removal, which is arguably the best form of card removal because it bypasses most forms of protection. The added bonus as well is that the opponent's monsters are returned to the hand and not sent to the graveyard, which is better than destruction in most cases, as there's tons of different cards that can bring back monsters from the graveyard. So your opponent will have to spend tons of resources bringing their monsters back out. In most cases, you can just remove whatever card is in your way and then either deal 2500 points of direct damage or destroy another monster in the field, which is pretty great. Cyberse Quantum Dragon has seen play in all sorts of decks due to its great versatility. It has seen use in Adignisters, Tenyi, and even Skull Servant decks. In the case of Skull Servants, the deck utilizes Unizombie, a level 3 zombie tuner that can increase the level of another zombie monster by 1 by discarding 1 card from your hand, and again it can send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard to increase another zombie card's level by 1. So in tandem with level 3 monsters of Skull Servants like Lady in White and White Princess, or other zombie archetype staples like Mizuki, you can easily make the level 7 Cyberse Quantum Dragon. In some cases, the inclusion of Cyberse Quantum Dragon doesn't need to be limited to decks that use Link monsters. Although the taunting effect is good, the value comes from the non-targeting removal and secondary attack of the card, as you don't really lose anything for being able to remove a monster with its battle-related effect like you would with other similar cards like Ally of Justice Cataster. And at number 2, we have Borrelsword Dragon. This is a Link 4 Dark Dragon monster with 3000 attack points and 4 arrows. Borrelsword Dragon has a couple of effects. The first effect is the card is battle immune, meaning it can't be destroyed by battle. Then, once per turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 attack position monster and change its defense position, while also being able to make a second attack each battle phase this turn. What makes Borrelsword Dragon so devastating is that your opponent cannot respond to this effect, as it's spell speed 4 for no reason. The last effect, and the cherry on top, is that when Borrelsword Dragon declares an attack on a face-up monster, until the end of the turn, Borrelsword Dragon gains half that monster's current attack, while the attack target loses half of their attack points. Borrelsword Dragon's effect allows it to deal out massive battle damage. Most boss monsters have around 3000 attack points, and using Borrelsword Dragon's effect, your dragon gains 1500 attack points while the attack target is bumped down to 1500 attack points. So on top of Borrelsword Dragon's base 3000 attack, your monster now has 4500 attack points and is dealing a full 3000 points of damage with 1 attack. And then you have a second attack afterwards with a fully buffed 4500 points of damage. However, there is an issue with interaction with both the Borrelsword Dragon's effects. To gain the ability to attack twice, you need to change a face-up monster from attack position to defense position. So if Borrelsword Dragon is the only monster in the field, you can't change any of the monsters to activate the effect to have 2 attacks. Then you are also losing out on damage, as by switching a monster to defense position, your opponent won't take any battle damage on that first attack. So although Borrelsword Dragon has great effects, it only works if there are other monsters in the field to utilize the double attack. However, in which case you can just attack with the monster you wish to put in defense position first, put it into defense position, and then attack twice with Borrelsword Dragon. That way you don't lose out on any attacks. However, most of the time, your opponent will have a monster in the field and be a target for Borrelsword Dragon's effect, meaning that you not only make one of your opponent's monsters easier to beat over, but deal some massive life point damage on top of it. There is one card though that tops Borrelsword Dragon in terms of damage output, and that's our number 1 spot on this list. And at our final number 1 is Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Draco Berserker is a level 8 dark worm type synchro monster with 3000 attack that requires any 1 tuner and non-tuner to bring out. Draco Berserker of the Tenyi is, as the name implies, all about offense. Draco Berserker has 2 great effects. The first is when a monster effect is activated, as a quick effect, you can banish that card. The second effect is what puts this card on this list. If Draco Berserker destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, it gains attack points equal to the destroyed monster's attack, then you can make a second attack on another monster this turn. Draco Berserker the Tenyi is a powerhouse to say the least. Not only is the ability to keep boosting your attack over and over on an already strong monster, but to have 2 attacks with it can be game-ending for your opponent. Let's say, for example, you have a Draco Berserker the Tenyi and your opponent has Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Once Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is sent to the graveyard, your Draco Berserker gains 2800 attack and now totals over 5800 attack, which can easily run over most other monsters in the game. On top of the exponential growth of Draco Berserker's attack points, the ability to instantly banish a card without targeting it is a great additional effect to have, and usually the main selling point of the card. Although, while it doesn't negate the effect, removing the card from play is a close second to stopping your opponent's plays anyway, as it's like a banished version of Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit, a very commonly used hand trap. Draco Berserker the Tenyi has seen a bunch of usage in a variety of decks, as the materials for its synchro summon has no specific requirements, so it can work with any deck that has tuners. Draco Berserker is a common staple seen in dragon decks like Rockets, or worm decks like Sword Soul Tenyi that take advantage of the worm typing. Draco Berserker lives up to his name as a true berserker that can run over almost every card if given a head start, and can instantly stop most of your opponent's plays by banishing monsters when they activate effects. And that's why it's the number 1 spot on our list, even above more iconic and generic cards like Borrelsword Dragon. Alright, and that's the list. If there are any other cards you think should have been on this list that we might have missed, or have any ideas for future videos just like this one, please let us know down in the comments.